USC women's basketball continues to roll with a sweep of the Grand Canyon State teams.
Back-to-back Super Bowl champs, recapping what is now being called Chiefs Dynasty.
And one USC track runner cemented herself in the history books last weekend.
Happy Wednesday and welcome back to Sports Scene. I'm Grace Schneider.
And I'm Terence Holton.
And I'm Kasey Kazliner. We begin today's show with breaking news from the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl parade. Thomas Johnson is in the media center with more.
What was supposed to be a victory celebration ends in chaos. Associated Press is reporting that up to 10 people are injured following a shooting in Kansas City near the Chiefs victory parade. 2 armed people have been detained and the condition of the victims remain unclear. This comes toward the conclusion of a celebration that included thousands of Chiefs fans. Players were crowded on double-decker buses, waving to fans as they rolled through the city. Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce were on the same bus, but Taylor Swift was not at the parade. We'll be tracking this news as it develops and revisit with updates toward the end of the show. Until then, back to the studio.
It was nothing short of a thriller. While the 49ers took a 10-0 lead in the second quarter, the Chiefs battled back hard. After the teams went back and forth in the latter half of the game, the score was knotted up at 19 when the clock hit 0. In overtime, San Francisco only mustered a field goal, allowing the Chiefs to drive down and score. The Chiefs took their 4th Super Bowl ring, winning 25-22.
To be able to, no one's ever done it, and we knew it's legendary to win back-to-back. All you can do is come back next year with a fresh mindset, knowing it's going to be even harder, and we got to continue to play our best football. We'll celebrate these next few weeks, and then we'll get right back at it.
Well, if these Chiefs have proven one thing, it's that you can never count them out. Their last 3 Super Bowls in this dynasty can truly back that up. One reason the Chiefs have been so good, quarterback Patrick Mahomes. At just 28 years old, Mahomes has been the reason the Chiefs have won these Super Bowls. In the last 5 seasons, he's won 3 rings and also capturing Super Bowl MVP in all 3 of them. Following Super Bowl 58, can we really call the Chiefs a dynasty yet, or are they not there yet?
I think we really can. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is single-handedly keeping this team alive. Not keeping them alive, but from where they were at in the season into winning the Super Bowl over a good 49ers team, I truly think that they are a dynasty.
Well, when you're comparing this Chiefs team to the Patriots post-2000s team, the 1980s 49ers, I don't think you can call this Chiefs team a dynasty yet. I think they're more of a dynasty in the making. I mean, in those pivotal moments, they make those plays, but their play this weekend was just not proof of that.
Yeah, but they won a ring. I agree with Terence. They are a dynasty. I think when you're a dynasty, it's when you have 3 rings, 3 championships in a short span of time. The Chiefs have done that. They're on the trajectory to have the most Super Bowls of all time very soon, and I'm really excited for what's to come for this team.
We'll see. USC women's basketball is on a 4-game winning streak, and they are ranked number 10 heading into this next week of play. Last week, USC triumphantly beat Arizona State and Arizona at home. In their game against the Wildcats, the Trojans flipped the script in the second half and turned up their defense to beat them 81-64. Both Juju Watkins and Rhea Marshall had double-digit games against the Sun Devils and the Wildcats.
We came out kind of timid on the defensive end, and going in that locker room, that was our major fix to be able to win the game, just to be able to dominate on defense and really own the game. And I think that gave me a lot of energy on the defensive end, just to make sure that I was in help and I was helping my teammates out when somebody got to the basket or not letting my players score. So
12 is filled with worthy competitors. What do you guys think about USC's Pac-12 title potential despite the stiff competition?
Well, obviously, when your best player is young, there's always that inexperience factor that comes in, especially in a Pac-12 conference that really, in my opinion, is the best in the entire country. You have Colorado, who beat USC earlier this season, Stanford, that's always a really tough opponent. I think it's going to be hard. I think they're going to make the tournament, and I think how far they go is the question. But I think having your best player be inexperienced, hopefully Juju can stay healthy, but I think they're a very good team. It's just going to come down to that factor.
It's going to be really hard. I mean, this team, they are currently 5th in the Pac-12, I believe, and they are number 10 overall. There are 4 teams in the top 10 for the Pac-12. They may miss out on a first-round bye for the Pac-12, which is huge in this tournament. I think it's going to be really hard, but I do think they can get it done with Juju Watkins.
I agree. I think they can get it done. I mean, we saw them beat Stanford last week, a couple weeks ago, and I think when players like Juju Watkins and Ray Marshall keep up with the double-digit games, I think they can do anything.
Do you guys think realistically that USC can win the Pac-12 at this point in the season?
I do.
I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to say no. I really think, last time you saw, it took a Juju Watkins 50 bomb for them to beat Stanford. While she's a phenomenal player, I don't know if she can replicate that. I'm really not sure she can.
I personally think her teammates are going to have to back her up. There's going to be games where, inevitably, Juju is not going to be on the top of her game. We saw last game. She struggled a bit in the first half. She's a great player, but I think her teammates, Mackenzie Forbes, Kayla Padilla, they're all going to have to step up if they're going to want to win the Pac-12 or make it far.
Well, Juju's not the only headline in the women's hoops. Will, who else will be taking the sport by storm?
Thanks, Grace. Yeah, elsewhere in women's college basketball, Iowa senior guard Caitlin Clark is on the verge of history. She can set the NCAA Division I career scoring record tomorrow night. With 8 points against Michigan Thursday night, Clark will pass former Washington guard Kelsey Plum for the all-time scoring crowd. The Iowan is averaging 32 points per game this season and has put up 3,520 points in her 4-year college career. Clark already holds conference records for both points and assists in the Big Ten, and she scored the most points in a single NCAA tournament last spring. Clark also has a good chance to set the single-season Division I scoring record with another deep run this year. Meanwhile, USC's own Juju Watkins is on pace to put up similar career numbers to Clark. The freshman phenom is already averaging more points per game this season than Clark did in her first year. Watkins' 27 points per game trails only Clark for the most in the nation this season. Additionally, Watkins turns the ball over less while providing more on the defensive end of the floor at over 4 steals and blocks combined on average. It certainly feels like Juju has the potential to go down as an all-time great in women's basketball. Do you guys think she can eclipse Clark in the record books?
I just want to say first, I think she absolutely can. I think it's just going to come down to the longevity of her college career. I think with Clark, she's been great and consistent in all 4 years. For Juju, we've kind of just seen the tip of the iceberg of what's going to surely be a great career and probably a great WNBA career. So I think if really she can translate this over to multiple years, she's already looking better than Clark did in her first year, dare I say. And so I think it's one of those things where if she can keep it going, stay healthy, we talked about this in the last discussion, I think she can for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's Juju's freshman year, Caitlin's senior year, and Juju's only trailing her by a couple points average per game. I'm excited to see what Juju does, and I think she's going to break all kinds of records.
I'm going to say no. Caitlin Clark is probably the most talented basketball player I've ever watched play, men's or women's. She is single-handedly changing the narrative around women's basketball. You see Iowa women's basketball games, they're selling out every single place they go because they want to watch Caitlin Clark, and she lives up to that hype. Caitlin Clark is probably the greatest women's basketball player of our lifetime, maybe of all time. If she can win a national championship this year at Iowa, she's the greatest women's college basketball player of all time.
What can she do that Juju Watkins can't?
I think she can shoot the 3-ball better. Juju is not pulling up from 40 feet like Caitlin Clark is. I just think overall, Caitlin Clark is just so fun to watch. She's incredible. I just think she's better.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's going to be a long few years coming up for Juju, and we'll see what can happen with her on the court for USC.
While the women's basketball team has been crushing the men's basketball team has been crushing and burning all throughout conference play. The Trojans got rained on in the Bay Area over the weekend as Stanford set a program record with 19 threes Saturday to drub USC 99-68. The Cardinal went on a 25-0 run in the first half to blow the game open as the Trojans fell to 9-15, dead last in the Pac-12. The men's basketball team now only has 1 win in 2024. The Trojans have dropped 4 of their last 5 games, with the losses coming from Oregon, Cal, Stanford, and UCLA. The Trojans head back to Galen Center to take on Colorado and Utah later this week. So where can this team go from here? Because, I mean, they can really only go up, but they're so bad.
Well, Isaiah Collier is back, so we have some optimism, some hope maybe he can bring us back on track. We have 2 games coming up at home, although the Trojans are 1-8. Currently, their last 9 games, they did win their last home game. So it's looking a little hopeful.
Well, I appreciate the optimism, and I agree. I think it looks to be over, but I agree. Bringing back Collier is big, especially down the stretch at the end of the season, going into a Pac-12 tournament that is crucial. And I think if Boogie Ellis, role players can step up, especially the big men that really haven't made that big of an impact lately, I think this team, like you said, they can only go up, and hopefully that's the direction they'll go in this final stretch of the season, heading into a Pac-12 tournament that really any team could prevail in.
Well, I agree with you, Kasey. I'm ready to wrap this season up. They are so bad that it's just, I didn't even watch the game on Friday. I tried watching it. They were down 27 at halftime, I believe. It's just so hard to watch them play. It's just not fun. And I need this season to end.
Yeah,
I think Trojan fan needs the season to end.
That Cal game, man, was disappointing. Going into overtime in Berkeley, a team that USC has dominated in recent memory, and Berkeley just made all their shots. The Golden Bears were perfect, and they had to be against, down the stretch, getting healthier Isaiah Collier in a team that really was good down the stretch. So really tough loss for the Trojans in the Bay Area, both of the games, and allowing that many points to the Cardinal.
What's so crazy is they've beaten both these teams this year earlier, and they still lost to Stanford by 30. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Upcoming Trojan Gold Team member Shane French joined an elite group of collegiate golfers. And stay tuned to hear about the impressive winning streak of number 15 women's lacrosse over the past weekend.
Let me tell you how we amplify our Latine voices. Check out Dímelo. We have it all.
Deportes.
Entertainment. Noticias. ¿Qué tal? Soy Mariela Gómez y bienvenidos a Dímelo Ahora.
Radio and podcasting.
Comida y cultura. Digital social media.
¿A qué equipo le vas tú? LA Galaxy o LAFC? Dímelo is the only Latina-focused media outlet at USC. Dímelo. We have it all.
Dímelo. We have it all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows. It's fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered, and watch it grow. And now grow a whole collection of fun with Chia teddy bears, puppies, kittens, rams, bulls. There's even a chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
The Chia Pet and Chia Tree are available at Kmart, Rite Aid, Ames, and Woolworth. Makes a great gift.
Thomas is joining us to break down the upcoming USC baseball season. Thomas?
Thanks, Grace. Football season might be officially at a close, but don't worry, baseball is back. USC starts its season this Friday, but first, let's take a look at how the Trojans finished last season. The Trojans started a new era last year as Andy Stankiewicz was in his first year as head coach. USC hit 30 wins for the first time since 2015, but a late season series loss to Arizona and a poor showing in the Pac-12 tournament kept the Trojans out of the NCAA tournament. The Trojans returned their most prolific hitter from that 2023 team in Austin O'Verne, though. The sophomore outfielder was a mean running machine last season, hitting 14 triples to set USC's single-season triples record as a freshman. Now USC is in the second season of the Stankiewicz era, and this team projects to be even better. The Trojans bring in 24 newcomers, including 10 transfers and 14 freshmen. Trojans also return Caden Aoki, who earned a spot on the All-Pac-12 Conference team last season, as Aoki and Tyler Stromsberg project to be two of USC's top starters this year. The Trojans open up their season this Friday in the MLB Desert Invitational. One of the highlights of the weekend is USC's matchup against Grand Canyon, Stankiewicz's old school before he started wearing the Cardinal and gold. This season projects to be a great one for USC baseball, with some even predicting the Trojans will make a deep run into the NCAA tournament. First pitch is 4 p.m. this Friday. But now that we've already talked about one being about to start their season, let's kick it over back to the studio to talk about a sport already in the throes of their season.
Well, Thomas, the number 15 ranked USC women's lacrosse team swept its first 2 games on the road against then number 15 Army and Villanova. USC dominated in the fourth quarter against the Black Knights to take a narrow 13-9 victory and battled in an even closer game against the Wildcats, winning 12-11. Both games were hard-fought and displayed the Trojans' resilience in all 4 frames. 2 Trojans took home weekly awards. Attacker Ella Heaney won Pac-12 Offensive Player of the Week thanks to her 9 goals across both games, and midfielder Kate Garrity was awarded Defensive Player of the Week after holding down the fort in the opposite end. USC will head to Carson to face Hofstra next on Saturday. Speaking of Ella Heaney, let's see what the graduate had to say in an interview with Annenberg Media's Pickle Coleman.
Welcome, Ella. We're so excited to have you on Sports Scene. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So first, how are you doing? I know you just had 2 amazing wins on the East Coast, Army and Villanova. Can you talk to us a little bit about those wins?
Yeah, so obviously like traveling across the country is pretty hard, especially when you have 2 games. So having that factoring into playing 2 like really good teams was definitely challenging, but we came out with 2 wins, so that's awesome. Army, we first started out on Friday, and that was just an amazing experience playing a ranked team. And Army is just like incredible, like the atmosphere and everything. There's so much history there too, so it was really cool being there. It was my first time there. And the team went in with like such great energy. We've been prepping all of preseason throughout January, practicing, lifting, doing film. So we really went in with the mindset of being 1-0 and just focusing on the first game, which is kind of the mindset of this whole season, taking it game by game. So I really think that we did a great job.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you had 9 goals through these 2 games, 6 in the first, 3 in the second. How did it feel to like have hat tricks in both games? You're just starting off the season. Like, what went into that?
So obviously it's a great way to kick off the season, but my teammates set me up with great looks, and it makes it easier when you're playing with your teammates every day pushing you. So I really just think that it's because of my teammates and who I'm surrounded with. So
absolutely. Yeah. And you also just hit your 100th goal, and now you have over 100 goals throughout your career at USC. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about how you've grown since, being a freshman here? Now it's your 5th year.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear just, your journey a little bit on this team.
Of course. So I've learned a lot here throughout amazing coaches who have come through USC, and Lindsay Monday has been like a constant coach through all my years here, so really owe like a lot of it to her, just because she's an amazing coach who supports us on and off the field and really cares about us all.
So I want to ask you, since it is your 5th year on the team, why come back to USC for grad school? Why come back to this team for a 5th year?
So obviously it's like the people that make the plays, so it was an easy decision for me. I didn't look anywhere else. I was like, I'm coming back here.
Yeah.
All of my past years I've had amazing experiences within teammates, the coaching staff, and just I like love it here, so I could not think of a better place to do my 5th year, and I'm excited that I made the decision to stay.
Yes, that's so awesome. And then what are your like biggest goals for the season, for this road ahead? You won the Pac-12 championship last year. What are you looking to do this year?
Yeah, so obviously winning Pac-12s is definitely our goal, but we're taking it game by game, and that's like all we can do, just focusing on our next opponent, which is Saturday. It'll be Hofstra, so that'll be played here at Dignity Health Sports Park, which will be a fun game. So
yes, for sure. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Of course.
And now we'll kick it to Thomas and Will with their Trojans of the Week.
It's arguably my favorite time of the week. I've traded one Will for another. I'm now joined by Will Simons on the couch. Happy Valentine's Day. Unfortunately, there won't be any love between us because it's time to debate Trojan of the Week. I've chosen Justin Braun to represent Team Thomas. Braun did it all at the Eagle Elite Invitational in Boston. The sophomore won the 200 meter with a blazing 20.92 second time, then followed that up in the men's 4x4, helping the Trojans set the fastest time in the NCAA this season. It was also the 2nd fastest time on that event in USC history.
Yeah, Thomas, my Trojan of the Week is USC graduate guard Kayla Padilla on women's basketball. She helped the Trojans to a pair of wins against the Arizona schools this weekend. The Penn transfer is known for being a sharpshooter from deep, but she provides much more than that for the Trojans. Look at this silky no-look assist to Rhea Marshall on Monday, and she got rewarded for that with a big bear hug from the GOAT, Cheryl Miller, who's one of the greatest Trojans ever. So Thomas, talk a little bit more about Justin Braun.
Well, the thing is, he's a sophomore, he's a really young guy, and let's talk about his history. He had a stress fracture in his back last March, and now he's hitting PR after PR. In that 200, beat 2 of his teammates. In that 60, also beating 1 of his teammates. He's just doing everything on the track for USC track.
Yeah, I like that pick, but I like Kayla Padilla a little bit more. On Monday, she hit 5 threes on 5 consecutive attempts. That helped USC recover from a pretty slow start against Arizona, where the offense wasn't really humming. She got going in the second and third quarters really well.
But Will, Kayla Padilla, we're talking about Trojan of the week here.
Yeah.
She played 2 games this week. In that Arizona game, she scored 15 points. You know who had more? Juju Watkins. She had 2 points against Arizona State. 2 points. She was the 7th leading scorer on the team. We're talking about Trojan of the week. Trojan of the game, maybe you could give it to Padilla. She's not even the best player on her team, though.
Yeah, but let's talk a little bit more, because I figured you would say something like that. However, Juju Watkins is a constant for this team. You know what you're going to get out of Watkins every game. But to take this team to the next level, you need secondary scoring. And Padilla is one of those options that can provide another way for USC to get up in points per game, another offensive spark. More than that, Padilla does a lot more than just score the ball. In those 2 games this weekend, we're talking about Trojan of the Week. Okay, I'll give you a stat from the last week. Last 2 games against the Arizona schools, 13 assists, 0 turnovers. That's really good. It's not all about scoring.
Will, you lost your argument by saying she was an option. At the end of the day, she is a scoring option. She is not the main person to win things. Justin Braun wins events. He won 3 events this week. I don't know. He's the Trojan of the week. I don't think you can deny that.
I will deny it, because Padilla provides a lot more options for the Trojans. She raises the ceiling of this team defensively and offensively, but I guess we're going to have to agree to disagree as always.
Okay, well, that's all from me and Will today. Grace, back to you at the desk.
Shane French of USC Men's Golf got a taste of the pros yesterday, competing in the collegiate showcase of the Genesis Invitational. The senior was one of 15 college players competing in the showcase, but ultimately, and unfortunately, French finished close to the bottom of the pack. Ending the round at 6 above par, French placed 6 strokes behind the winner of the showcase, Cole Ruick of Boise State. French's flirting with the pros ends before Valentine's Day, but he still has the rest of his collegiate career to finish off. USC Men's Golf heads to Hawaii to compete in the John Burns Intercollegiate Tournament starting this Thursday.
USC Track and Field won 6 events this past weekend at the Eagle Elite Invitational. The headliner of the event was Marnie Sullivan, who broke the USC women's indoor 800-meter record. Sullivan ran a blazing 2-minute 4-second time in the 800-meter event to break the USC women's indoor record. Sullivan also broke her former personal best, which was 2 minutes and 6 seconds last year at the ACC Championships. Sullivan ran this on her prior home turf of Boston College, as she is a former Golden Eagle.
The important thing was it was so fun to do it in front of all my new teammates, my old teammates, my family and friends, and I spent 4 years in Boston and trained a lot on that track. I have a lot of memories with my old teammates on that track, so I think it was just a very special moment to be able to experience that happiness, love, and joy with all my friends and family in Boston.
USC Track and Field's next event is February 23rd through 24th in Seattle at the Ken Shannon Invitational. Hopefully Marnie and others will be breaking more records. The NBA All-Star Game is this weekend, where we'll lay out our picks for the 3-point and dunk contest.
And we'll talk about the best team in Los Angeles in the NBA, the LA Clippers, one of the top teams in the West. We'll be back with more next.
Bonjour. Je suis le grand musique.
Je suis la jeune fille.
Yes, that's French they're speaking. And no, these children aren't French. They're American. And they've acquired their amazing new language skills from Muzzy, the remarkable new video language program for children developed by the British Broadcasting Corporation. With this unique BBC language course, children learn a second language with incredible ease. 4 delightful videos quickly become their favorite TV show and teaches children the same way they learned English. Learning another language becomes fun. You'll be amazed when your children begin speaking and understanding their new language from the very first day through this unique method. The entire course, 4 videos, 2 audio cassettes, the activity book, and the Parent's Guide and Answer book is available in French, Spanish, Italian, or German.
To order, use your credit card and call this number. We'll ship and charge you $28.08 a month for 6 months. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Call 1-800-424-0700.
Okay, this stuff is really amazing. I mean, I put it in my mouth and I taste watermelon, but it's not just that. I taste strawberry too, but it's kind of like a watermelon-y strawberry put together. Hey, hang on. Sorry about that. And the bubbles are really awesome. I mean, that's why they call it Max, I guess. Obviously, that sort of makes sense once you think about it. Oh, I'm Dan, and that's Chuck. Hubba Max. A whole new kind of bubble. Hey!
The LA Clippers have won 7 of their last success as the 34-year-old guard has been on a tear lately. Add in Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, and in Los Angeles as a true title contender. George scored 30 in the Clippers' most recent.
The NBA All-Star Game is this week in Indianapolis. The three-point contest will host many All-Stars, including Tyrese Halliburton, Damian Lillard, and Lauri Markkanen. WNBA star Sabrina Ionescu and Golden State Warriors Stephen Curry will hold a separate three-point contest during the All-Star weekend. The 4 participants in this year's Slam Dunk Contest are Jaylen Brown, Jaime Jaquez Jr., Mac McClung, and Jacob Toppin. McClung, who's in the G League, will look to be the 5th player to ever win back-to-back dunk contests. So who do you guys think will show out in the three-point contest this year?
Well, I'm really excited for the three-point contest between Curry and Ionescu. I mean, you have the greatest shooter possibly all time in the WNBA. We were just talking about Caitlin Clark. Ionescu is on a whole other level. And Stephen Curry, who of course has the record for the most threes in NBA history, who really revolutionized the three-point shot. I'm so excited. I am a big fan of Stephen Curry, and Ionescu is a Bay Area native, so I think it's going to be a really good one. Sort of a little rivalry forming there between the two.
My pick, I'm gonna go with Atlanta's own Trae Young. He's unstoppable. He can shoot from anywhere, and he's been a force to reckon with for the Hawks, so he's my pick.
I'm also going to be a homer. I'm going to go with Damian Lillard. Dame is one of the most underrated shooters of all time. He can shoot it from anywhere. He's going to prove to the world that he can best shoot it this weekend, and I'm excited to see him show out. Even though he's not in Portland, I still love him.
Well, what about the dunk contest for you guys? Who are we excited for?
I'm going to go with Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. He's the first All-Star to compete in this competition since 2017, and I think he's a force to be reckoned with.
I'm going to go Jaime Jaquez Jr. He beat out Drake London, former USC wide receiver, and Kenyon Martin Jr. in a dunk contest in high school, another high flyer. I think he is one of the more underrated contestants, and I think he's really fun to watch dunk, because when he lifts off, he is fun.
Well, I'm going to go with Mac McClung, the defending champion. He won it last year. He's a G League call-up. He's with the Orlando Magic's G League team, and he certainly gets the call every time the dunk contest festivities are happening. But I really like him. You know, he's not a traditional tall player. He's a smaller guy, a scrappy guard, but he really knows how to put it in the cup, and I'm really excited for Mac McClung to defend his title.
See, that's why I think Jaquez will take it, though. He's, I think, the tallest player of them, and I think he'll have an advantage, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but I think he'll really take this one home.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But before we go, we have an update on the Chiefs Super Bowl parade. CNN and ABC News are reporting that 1 person has died as a result of the shooting. There are also reports that between 8 and 10 people were injured. The story continues to develop, and Annenberg Media will continue to have the very latest.
That's all from us. For Sportsbean, for everyone at Annenberg Media, I'm Terence Holton.
I'm Kasey Kazliner.
And I'm Grace Schneider. We'll see you next week at the same time, same place.